What's going on, y'all? Thanks for clicking on the video and tuning in. We got another episode here today. Today's episode is called Top Scientist Destroys Everything We Know About Reality. Let's go ahead and get into it.
A world-renowned scientist published a theory so radical, it claimed
everything that you see out there, every particle, depends on the observer for their very properties. And it turns out that life and consciousness are absolutely essential to reality. So that it's clear that without an observer, you could not actually have existence. You could not have reality.
His name...
Alright, we low-key watch some shit like this, or in my last series, it was called The Universe is in Your Brain. This kind of picks up where that left off, almost like a part 2 in a sense. You get a broader understanding of the concept that I like to put out there for the way that I choose to view reality. Some people have a problem with that, but if you want to take the time to find out what a nigga mean when he say that, there's some actual scientific evidence to prove what people are saying when they make such drastic claims. Let's go.
Is Dr. Robert Lanza.
Robert Lanza was called by the New York Times one of the 3 most important scientists alive today. Just to give you an idea of the caliber of our next presenter.
He cloned endangered animals, advanced stem cell science, and gained global recognition, until he said something that made science go quiet.
So I've come to conclusions that would shock many of my colleagues and predecessors. Space and time are tools of our mind. Experiment after experiment shows that not a single particle out there exists with real properties until it's observed.
So you got a man here who, he's in the fringe science. And people who speak on concepts like this, they're usually like ridiculed, ostracized, kind of persecuted to a certain extent. Usually told you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and this is just some crazy mumbo jumbo stuff that you saw on the internet, which I did. But this dude out here is cloning, messing around with DNA. I'm pretty sure he's a, academically accredited guy, if he's speaking on any of these platforms that we see him speaking on. But it's just proof that it's not just dudes in your basement or in their mom's house talking like this, man. This is some actual science with actual scientific data to prove what they're talking about. Let's keep running it though.
Now, pay attention, because what you're about to hear challenges the most basic thing you believe about reality. He claims that everything about the universe is backwards. Consciousness doesn't come from the brain. The brain and everything in space and time comes from consciousness. Stay with me, because this isn't science fiction. It's grounded in quantum mechanics, biology, and decades of research. Let's break this down. Imagine you're looking at a tree. You assume it's just there, whether or not you're looking at it. That's how we've been taught to see the world. But quantum experiments, like the famous double-slit experiment, suggest something strange.
So we covered this experiment in the last video. If you tuned in and watched, thank you to all 8 viewers. Hopefully this series will get 10 viewers, man. I'll be happy. if the forces grant me that. Let's go.
Until a conscious observer checks, particles don't have defined positions. They exist in a state of probability. In other words, they're not real until you observe them. So what does that mean? It means the universe might not exist without you, and that flips everything upside down.
Why? Why does that flip everything upside down? Because, for the last little period in time, the people that have been supposedly running the show, in charge of distributing information to the masses, righteously. They've been lying out here, y'all. And then what have they been telling us? They've been telling us that, you know, life is a random creation. You know, a result of random circumstance that so happened to get us here. We're insignificant beings that only exist for a finite amount of time. We live and we die, and that, you know, we're basically relatively, for the most part, you know, insignificant when it comes to the grand cosmic hierarchy. But that's in direct contrast to like what a lot of ancient cultures taught, because they said that the whole universe revolves around us. You know, we're at the center of this world. But let's go. Let's keep letting this man run it.
This is where things start to shift. The idea that life doesn't exist within the universe exists within life. Consciousness isn't some side effect of atoms. It's the very fabric holding it all together.
So take the undeniable logic that your kitchen is always present. You think that its contents assume its familiar shapes and colors whether or not you're in it. But consider, the shapes, colors, and forms known as your kitchen are seen because the particles of light from the overhead bulb bounce off the various objects and then interact with your brain through a complex set of retinal and neural intermediates. But on its own, light doesn't have any color, nor any brightness, nor any visual characteristics at all. It's merely an electrical and electromagnetic phenomenon. So you might think that the kitchen was there in your absence, but unquestionably, the reality is that nothing remotely resembling what you perceive as your kitchen could possibly be there without your consciousness interacting with it. Quantum physics comes at it from a much hotter angle and arrives at the same conclusion. So at night, you click your lights off and you leave for the bedroom. And of course the kitchen is there unseen all through the night, right? So, in fact, the refrigerator, it turns out, the stove, and everything in your kitchen are composed of a shivering swarm of energy. And the results of quantum physics, such as the two-hole experiment and others, tell us that not a single one of those particles in any of those objects actually exists in a definite space until you observe them.
Dude, this makes so much sense. Think about what they're telling us, man. Atoms. Everything around us is made out of atoms, but atoms are made out of 99.99% empty space. When you get down past subatomic particles and quarks and all that shit, bro, we're talking about once you get down to, you know, the smallest increment of measurement that you could be talking about in an atom is filled with nothing, bro. Yeah. So what are we seeing? Let's go.
Exists in a range of probabilities, waves of probability. So outside of that fact, there's really nothing there. They're just statistical probabilities of particles existing in certain locations. So if they aren't being observed, they can't be thought of as having any real existence, either duration or position in space. So it's only in the presence of the observer, that is when you go back and get a drink of water, that the mind actually sets the scaffolding of these particles in place.
Robert Lanza isn't a random voice from the internet. He's been named among Time magazine's 100 most influential people. He's a pioneer in cloning endangered species, helping advance stem cell therapies, and has published in prestigious journals like Nature and The Lancet. But his most controversial claim? That death as we understand it doesn't actually exist.
God damn, that's some powerful shit to hit a nigga with. You feel me? Had they been lying to us this whole time? Is that why they're able to maintain this whole system? Because we believe that one day we're gonna die, bro. You know? I mean, think about how much different we would live our lives if we knew, A, that the universe is being projected from our brains, but also that, you know, you don't die, bro. There's no fucking such thing as that. That's some modern day, that's really a conspiracy theory, is fucking dying, bro. Why do I say that? Well, we'll let him explain. Let's go.
And if that's true, then when your body stops working, your awareness doesn't disappear, it shifts. And that's where things get even more unbelievable. Lanza's perspective is simple, but radical. Consciousness doesn't end when your body dies. Instead, it continues outside of space and time, because it was never confined to the brain in the first place. To understand this, we need to look at what physics has been telling us for over a century. In Einstein's theory of relativity, time is not a fixed arrow. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Your death, in that sense, is just a coordinate in a much bigger structure. From a timeless perspective, there is no true before or after. Quantum physics goes even further. The observer effect shows that particles behave differently when being watched. It's as if consciousness itself activates reality. So if consciousness isn't produced by matter, but instead shapes it, then where does it go when the body shuts down? Here's where it gets fascinating. Lanza explains that what we call death is simply the end of a biological function, not the end of awareness. Your experience doesn't stop. It just detaches from the physical structure, just like a TV signal continues even after the receiver breaks. And this idea isn't new.
He explained it right there, man. You know, at the moment of death, all that's happening is the end of your supposed biological functions, which is an illusion, because once the being expires and its consciousness moves on, the physical body immediately begins its process of disintegrating back into nothingness. Literally, a conscious being present inside the body or connected to the body in some particular way is what holds it together and even makes it appear here in the first place, bro. Otherwise, the shit will still be around long after you're gone, but there's only a particular percentage of it that remains in our particular dimensional field, if you would want to say. But basically what he explained to you is that when you die, your consciousness enters another timeline, basically. You know, let's keep going though.
Philosophers like Immanuel Kant and modern physicists like John Wheeler.
Nigga last name is Kant. You a damn Kant ass nigga. Alright, let's go.
Have said similar things, that space and time are tools of the mind, not...
I'm damn near falling asleep, y'all. You feel me? But it's like, I just got a bug to post a video. So I gotta make this shit, bro. Let's go.
external realities. According to Lanza, reality is a process that involves your consciousness at every level. Even time and space are constructs your mind uses to organize information, and when the body dies, those tools fall away, but you don't. Instead of fading into nothing, your awareness shifts into another framework, one not bound by the rules we think are universal. And before you dismiss that as spiritual fluff, remember, mainstream science still can't explain how consciousness arises from brain matter.
Mainstream science can't really explain shit. We don't know where humans come from. We don't know why we're here. You know, there's some theories out there, but those are nothing but theories, you know. They're not concrete, you know, impervious to being able to be disproved. But let's go.
There's no biological mechanism that bridges the gap between neurons firing and the experience of being.
There's nothing in physics that can explain, as you've already heard over and over, how...
Y'all hear what he's saying, though? There's nothing that explains how neurons create the sensation of happiness, bro. You know, some people just think it's just chemicals, but, you know, the chemical interaction don't start happening until the mental interaction starts occurring. You know, now you can have a vice versa effect, you know, but usually they're typically the chemicals are induced by some sort of perceived experience, you know. Now you can just start sitting there thinking about some scary shit and actually get scared, or you can actually be perceiving something that you that you experience as terrifying, and those particular chemicals will then start to be distributed into your brain. But you can also smell the sweat of somebody that was scared, and then that could induce fear in you at the same time. So it's a vice versa process going on, but obviously typically one comes before the other. Let's go.
A group of molecules in the brain creates consciousness. So the beauty of the sunset, the taste of a delicious meal, these are all mysteries to science, how we subjectively feel that.
So maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Instead of what happens when we die, maybe we should be asking, what is this place we're experiencing? And who's really doing the experiencing? Because if consciousness isn't local, then death might not be a wall. It might be a doorway. Here's where things take a turn most people never see coming. If consciousness exists outside of time and space...
Wait, pause. That just took me like 3 seconds to process and even take that in fully. That nigga said death might not be the end. It might just be a doorway. This man dropping. He going stupid. Let's go.
Then reality as we experience it could be just one version among many. Not because of sci-fi multiverses, but because consciousness may be constantly selecting outcomes from a sea of quantum possibility.
Now pause. I want to show y'all something because this is interesting to me. Something like this is interesting to me. You see how we talking about the universe is a projection from your brain, right? Or it's being projected. Let's look at this. This was deep when I saw somebody break this down for me. I think it was Brother Sanchez. Go ahead and look at this, y'all, right? Torus field. What's the torus field? Electromagnetic field of the heart. This is not any type of fringe science. This is actual factual information. Every human being has an electromagnetic field produced by the beating of the heart, right? And that's just on the most mundane explanation, but if we can just go right ahead to the advanced explanation for the people who have the mental capacity to conceptualize this and accept this. So you have this torus field here, right? And this surrounds you. This is what everybody has, or people say this word in the new modern day lexicon. Well, it's not a new word, but it's applied recently. Vibe. Everybody has. I'm damn near out the camera talking this shit, but everybody has a particular vibration, feeling, energy, right? Well, this is why you can feel somebody's particular energy, because we all have an energy field resonating around us based off of the way your heart is, bro. So usually somebody with a cold ass heart got a cold ass feeling, and the most loving people, you can feel that loving energy due to this field around them, right? But this is more than just a field, right? Because everything that we're seeing based off the previous experiments that we just saw witness to, everything you're seeing is nothing but energetic waves that are being turned into particles. When the observer's attention is applied to these waves, it collapses the wave function and turns it into an atom or a particle. It makes it appear in front of you, right? So if you link all the shit that I just said up, right, and then you look at here, you see how this torus field has all these screens on it, right? And then it's showing you this screen as to how, we live in a universe with infinite amount of timelines floating around you. Well, think about how all your different decisions that you have floating around in your brain, in your mind, depending on what you choose, will control what you begin to observe going on around you. Why? Because this energy field is nothing but a big old screen, right? That's your reality is being projected around you. It's giving you the illusion of depth, distance, travel, but none of this shit is real. It's just like in a video game when you're playing Grand Theft Auto and you're driving You really think that your ass done drove from Los Santos to out in the desert, but you're literally just inside the screen, and all this is being produced by pixels, bro. Painting gave me a good understanding of this, about how reality is rendered before us in a series of illusions, bro. You can create distance, depth, light with nothing but paint, bro. A whole reality with just a brush. Let me show y'all something, right? So you can get a full understanding of this. The Sphere, Las Vegas. Look at the interior, right? This is you, right? Okay. See how there's all these screens? This is all the realities and the timelines and your thoughts all permeating around you, creating what you're seeing, right? And then I just want to show you something real quick. This is gonna be some real friend shit. Then look at this. Okay. Observatory, the Sphere, and then, the firmament. All this shit is inside your head, bro. Let's go.
Think of the many worlds.
If people say, how is the reality in your brain if it's other people? Well, just think about how people play Call of Duty. Everybody has their own PlayStation, but we all playing the same damn game together somehow, bro. You got your own version, I got my own version, and we got this shared version as well, bro. Let's go.
Interpretation of quantum mechanics, proposed by physicist Hugh Everett in the 1950s. It suggests that every time a decision is made or a particle takes one path over another, alternate realities branch off.
Now, we've never thought that we were in a superposition, right? No one ever feels like that.
Did he just say what the hell I just explained, bro? Damn near. Let's go.
We've seen. So the inventors of quantum mechanics said, well, we're going to pick one of those possible places. You saw it here and the electron was there, and say that's real. What the many worlds version of quantum mechanics says, actually, they're all real, but they can't talk to each other. So before you did the observation, there was one world, the electron was spread out and you were in your state. After, there are many, many worlds. And in each one of those worlds, the electron was in one particular position, and that is where you saw it.
Man, come on, bro. Just explained it, bro. It's a world of possibilities out there that you exist. It's a version of you that exists in all of them, bro. This is what they're showing you. I want to show you. Let's just look at an Indian temple. Pull up any one, bro. This is what they're showing you, bro. With all the layers, how it's many worlds all stacked on top of each other with all living beings inside of it. All different levels of life. Just like how, our reality is layered. The jungle is layered. The ocean has layers. The Earth's crust has layers. The atmosphere has layers. History is written down in layers, man. Periods. An onion has layers. This is the nature of reality. When you see all these temples, look at this. Shit like this. First of all, bro, you think, if your ass look at some shit like this and think some niggas made this with a damn tool and if you even think they made it with a machine, bro, what machine could it have been, bro? All these people doing all this speculation, bro. Have people ever considered they made this shit with their minds, bro? And that's how humans used to do shit. Like, we used to manifest a whole building by thinking about it, bro. That's possible, bro. I'm not trying to hear what none of y'all talking about, bro. All these different materials that aren't being able to be cut with metals and tools. Come on, bro. Let's run.
In that framework, your consciousness could, theoretically, continue in one of those branches after death. Not reincarnation, not heaven or hell, but a shift, a continuation in a new configuration of reality, selected and sustained by awareness.
But I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right there. Get this part uploaded. We're gonna get back to y'all with a part 2. Thanks.